Okay, so it looks like we are live, and welcome to everyone who's joining us here today on the panel. It's a pleasure to connect, and I will introduce everyone a little bit more in a moment. And welcome to everyone who might be tuning in on various channels that we're streaming live today on. So that is our official YouTube channel and Facebook page, and also our sister group, the Earth Elders. So we may be having some audience participation. So if you're on Facebook, then there will be some instructions to click on in the comments in the description of this live stream, so we can actually see your name, so we can acknowledge you. But otherwise, we will be able to see you commenting anyways. So welcome to the new beginnings. The new beginnings of the year and the new beginnings of this platform, and also hopefully the new endings of certain cycles that we've been in for a couple of years now around the world that, you know, everyone knows of, and hopefully new beginnings beyond that. So there are many dimensions for really what we're bringing here to this space today. So we will have our keynotes by each of our wonderful guests and panelists here, which again I will introduce a little bit later in more detail. But we have Lisa from United Kingdom, and Shine from Vancouver, and Antonia from Germany, and Teahna, I believe you're in Texas. Yes, and Jacob, who should be back with us. He's in Sedona. So we do have truly an international panel here today, and we currently have 2 regions represented. So our intention obviously is to cover all 3 major regions. So in time, we're looking forward to our Asia Pacific guests and panelists as well. So welcome once again. So let me weave in a little bit of the story as well, and the offerings that each of you bring. So I'm personally fascinated by the diversity that is today on this panel, and that is really our container that we create in the wider Global Unity Festival space. And usually people are attracted, you know, like attracts like, and people are attracted with similar worldviews, with similar kind of aspirations and ideas, and this is somewhat different. Like we actually may be very different, right? And yet something attracts us, right? So the question is what that is. And we'll discover that in the keynotes today a little bit more. But I believe that what attracts all of our panelists here and beyond this live stream today on the wider platform is our commitment for a better world. And I see, yes, everyone agrees to that. And well, what is a better world, right? Like, it can mean so many different things to so many people, right? And yet that's, I believe, also our learning and our sort of experimentation that we need to go through to sort of learn to listen to each other and to learn to listen to different perspectives of what that better world may look like. And that's what we'll be, you know, one of the things that we'll be doing here today. But in our space, we simply are committed to upliftment, right? To uplift, which means simply increase the well-being on spiritual, mental, physical levels for the individuals, for the society, and for the globe, right? So that's what a better world means, you know. And I believe what also unites us is this idea in some form or shape of a new phase of human evolution. And that's what I'm also fascinated with who's currently today on the panel. And we, I'm sure, have some understanding and some idea for what that is, but we come from different communities, perhaps, you know, some more spiritual, some more corporate even, more conventional, less conventional, right? And yet we all believe that there's something new happening. right, on our beautiful planet. And finally, what we're here for is in this container of the Global Unity Festival. And well, what the festival is about is our knowing, our intuitive understanding that our thoughts, emotional states, and feelings affect our reality. Now we have plenty of evidence, you know, that actually that is the case. And that's one of the commitments for the Global Unity Festival, to create this opportunity for people across the world unite and synchronize our intentions to create, you know, as big of a wave of positive energy as we can. And today is a little glimpse into that, so we won't be having much of this diversity that ultimately we're bringing into this platform, because this is still in development. And it brings me also to this theme of new beginnings, right? Because if we look at the analogy of plants growing and of a forest growing, which is very much what we're here creating, is a forest of a lot of diversity. Many different plants, many different creatures, many different functions they fulfill. But at their sort of starting phases, plants look nothing like their fully blown expression, right? So in a way, today we're this seedling that looks just a little bit of what it's going to be and become. So without further ado, let me come to perhaps now our intention today, and maybe later on during our live stream, I'm going to share a little bit more about the platform if we have that space and opportunity. But for those who are keen to have a look at that already, you can just go on our page, which is globalunityfestival.org, and you'll see all the different offerings and aspects of the platform on there. So, but today, so we have originally intended 6 panelists, but we have 5. Prash, unfortunately, due to health, was unable to join. But there's also a story in the way that the order of the keynotes unfolded. And we'll start with Lisa Hamilton-Smith, who's going to share with us on the topic of losing everything and starting over. Really deep, I believe, inquiry. And, you know, just to be real, right? Like with the 2 years behind us, you know, globally, that might have been an experience for so many people, right? And Lisa will share more about that, but I believe it's a beautiful start for our journey here today. And then we'll move to Shine. And Shine's topic is attracting clarity, success, and happiness from the receiving mode. And I believe it's a beautiful transition, because once we lose everything, it's like, what do we turn to actually get these new ideas for the new phase? And this receiving mode is a beautiful concept that allows us to tap into our inner wisdom. And then Teahna is going to speak about becoming one on purpose, how a new paradigm begins and a new earth is created. Beautiful, huge topic. And I believe it's also important because, you know, we can go into different projects and we can start different things, but once we have this bigger context, it just gives us such a different direction potentially, and really being aware of what that bigger context is just so important. And then we'll move on to Antonia, the birth of your initiative and the magic of co-creating with source. So once we have this inner wisdom, this from the receiving mode, once we have this bigger vision of the new paradigm, well, actually it's about then fulfilling that in some kind of bigger project or some creation. And then Jacob, hopefully when he'll be able to join us, if he sorts technology out, is going to share with us about finding a new perspective through the body. And what a beautiful completion for this conversation, because all of these big ideas, big concepts, big inspirations, well, it's about embodying them into our being and actually being able to hold all of that, right? Because that's when we truly are able to manifest our projects and our dreams and our inspirations. And so what is that format and space as it has been emerging so far? You know, today we held this space in a more sort of traditional linear way, right? Because, you know, we had the space for every speaker in their own allocated time, and it kind of takes time to go through all of those speakers if you're viewing, right? And once again, thank you to our viewers who are present throughout all of this. And the festival brings it to the next step. You know, it allows us to actually come together simultaneously in different practices, in different traditions, in different tastes, in different places, in different formats, right? But synchronize our activity. And what Jacob brought today through his practice was what you could, you know, in more scientific terms, call coherence, right? And this is just that sense of inner, you know, peace and inner upliftment, you know, hence our intention to uplift. So what unites all of those different wisdom keepers and artists who bring their, you know, wisdom and their offering is that intention to uplift. And it can be done in so many different ways. And this is what the festival is really about, allowing us to all connect at the same time, no matter what we do, to uplift ourselves and uplift our communities and uplift ultimately the world, you know. And that's where the piece of technology comes in. And that's where, you know, we've built, and this is why, you know, we perhaps didn't fully unfold that today because it's still in the making, but we're due to have that ready for February event. So all those listening, you can make a note that this festival is scheduled for every first Sunday of every month. So, and the next one is on the 6th of February. And the technology piece that comes in is just this simple way of having all of the wisdom keepers and artists and teachers to list their offering on our platform. And you can think of it as a physical festival where you have those many stages and you look at the lineup and the program of each of those, and then you just choose which one you go to. And once you select your favorite one, you know, be it meditation or prayer or body work or breath work or anything, you know, it can be even a physical event. So, you know, someone like Lisa could even lead a equine therapy session and, you know, could live stream or not, but, you know, that is secondary, right? But holding it at the same moment with everyone else adds to that field, adds coherence, so that we create that wave that, like, that's where that emergence and not knowing what that is going to look like comes in, because nobody knows, you know, if and how it's going to impact us. And, you know, just on a little bit on the technical side, and once people choose their favorite host, you know, as we call them, who host their special offering here on the platform, they'll be taken to this room, which is more intimate, focused on that particular host and presenter and their program. But it still has these elements that bring us all together. So it has the countdown timer to the peak of the event. So as I say, today we were linear, but once we are all actually doing this at the same time, well, the power comes when we synchronize our activities. So we synchronize that with, you know, a countdown timer that leads to the peak of that wave. I'm not going to go into too much detail of the whole sort of organizational aspect to that, but we have 3 waves, Asia and Pacific, Europe, Africa and Middle East, and the Americas. And in each wave, there's this peak, the crest of the wave, so to speak, where we unite and when we synchronize. And that's where the most ripples are created. So, and then in that space, you also see who participates, or how many rather people participates in all of that wave, right? So you always know that you're part of something bigger, you know, you're part of a community and a larger festival. And there are so many other elements that we have also integrated that will be coming in to the new release. One of them being the scientific aspect, where we actually are in conversations with the two biggest scientific projects, Global Consciousness Project and Global Coherence Initiative, where we've also integrated one of their measurement sort of instruments in a way, right, which is the random number generator. So that's going to be integrated on our platform, which gives us almost real-time feedback loop for how that coherence that we generate actually shows up in real measurable data, right? So that's kind of the next level, the next dimension of this project as well, really contributing to our next level of understanding, the scientific understanding, you know, how our thoughts, intentions, and emotions actually impact our reality. So that's the short overview of what's there to come in the following months. So, thank you once again. And yes, so there's another viewer commenting that we'll share this as widely as possible. Hope others replant the seeds of this lovely garden. And what a beautiful, actually, analogy. And I just love really, I think, tapping into this, that we're growing a forest, and there's no, like, we're not growing a plantation of palms, right? It's like, which is like a monoculture, right? We're growing a forest, an ecosystem, where there's small plants, bigger plants, different animals, and everyone who was here today in the space planted their seed here today, right? For the forest to flourish. Yes, Lisa?
Oh, just a question. If people are listening and they want to get on your email list about different things you're doing, where do they find your email?
Yes, thank you so much. I forgot about that, actually, so thanks for reminding that. So I'll put the running line at the bottom. So we have the globalunityfestival.org, which is our main page, and you can register as a host if you would like to offer your wisdom on the platform. Just go globalunityfestival.org/host. But we have so many other ways that we can, co-create and grow this garden. There's fellowships that we're building, which isn't necessarily people who want to host, but maybe they're aligned with the vision. There's guest speakers who could come on the main stage, instead of offering their own individual event, and so many other ways. And yeah, there's already quite a lot on the website. So if you just feel like you don't want to plow through all of that information, just feel free to write to me on unite@globalunityfestival.org, and I will, connect and see where it takes us. Okay. Thank you once again, and much love and blessings, and I look forward to our next steps and co-creations. Thank you for being here today.